friends, it's Liv and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. So for today's video, I am bringing you guys the intimidating TBR book tag. Recently I saw my friend Sydney over at Sid Bookworm do this tag, so I will link her video down below if you'd like to go check it out. She's awesome, I promise. But it seemed like a lot of fun, and my TBR is quite intimidating. I easily think I have about 100 books that I've never read, so I definitely have some work to do. So this tag was a lot of fun to get to go through some of the ones I haven't read, pick ones that match the prompt the best. So there are 9 books, I believe, that I'm going to talk about today. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, so the first question in the tag is, what book are you just unable to finish no matter how hard you try? And for this, my pick is honestly The Toll by Neal Shusterman. I don't know what it is, because Scythe and Thunderhead were 2 of my favorite books of 2019. I absolutely loved them. And I don't know if it's just that The Toll is so much bigger than they are, but I don't know. There's something about the fact that there's all these new characters that are being introduced, and I feel like I've heard so many people saying like how disappointed they were by the ending. So I think that's kind of where I'm so like hesitant to pick it up whenever I do. I want to say I'm about halfway through the book now. My excuse now is that the book is all the way back in California and I am currently in Illinois for quarantine. So that's my excuse for right now for not picking it up. But yeah, it's one that just, I pick it up, I've been chiseling away at it little by little, and one day I will get there and finish it. Hopefully sometime soon, because the Arc of a Scythe trilogy is one of my favorite series, maybe of all time. So I would love to finally finish it and get to see the ending that we have for these characters that I do know and love, but for the characters that I don't quite know and don't quite love, I'm not digging it. So the next question is, what book do you have yet to read because you just haven't had the time? And when I show you the cover, you're gonna see how long I've had this book, because the covers have changed years ago. But there's a lot of hype around the series at the moment because the 4th book is coming out this year. But the series is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. This is a paperback, so it's not like I got it right when it came out. However, it is the old cover, and this is also an autographed copy. My local bookstore in college does a ton of signings with authors, so they literally just have like bookshelves on bookshelves of signed books. So I'd seen this one like, probably my freshman year of college, like 3-4 years ago now. Had to pick it up because I'd heard all the hype about it then, and it was autographed, and I thought that was really cool. But you know, time just keeps going and I just haven't had the time to read it yet. Honestly, now I'm thinking I might just wait for the 4th book to come out so I can just kind of marathon the series as a whole. I hear a lot of people talking about how much they love this. This is a very beloved series in this community, I feel like. So it kind of disappoints me that I haven't read it. But I don't know, all of the hype I feel like can't let me down. So if I can just marathon those 4 books once the 4th one comes out, you know, I'm okay with that. Next up is, what book haven't you read because it's a sequel? And this is a book that a lot of my friends in the book community have been telling me I finally need to get on and read, and I'll do it. I'll get there, I promise. But it is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas, which is the 2nd book to A Court of Thorns and Roses. Honestly, I'm just as surprised as you are that I haven't read this yet, because Sarah J Maas is like my favorite author of all time. Throne of Glass is like my favorite book series of all time. I read A Court of Thorns and Roses back in January and I really enjoyed it. And everyone says that the shift from book 1 to book 2 in the series is just so drastic, and that A Court of Mist and Fury is like one of their favorite books of all time. So I feel like I'm just intimidated by all the hype for that one. And that's a question later on. So there are other books that I am also intimidated with, because they say personally this is such a book that they've loved so much and it's their favorite book of all time. I'm like, what if I don't like it? So that's my excuse for now as to having not read it, but I do plan on reading it very soon, because again, this is another series that I would like to just binge the rest of. One of these days I'm just gonna have a TBR full of books that I'm just like, I'm just gonna finish this series, this series, this series. I actually did really well with this last month in March, getting some series done. So now that I have those done, I have time for these now, so soon. What book do you have yet to read because it is brand new? And my answer for this is The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson, which is the last book in the Truly Devious trilogy. I absolutely devoured Truly Devious and The Vanishing Stair. I loved both of them so much, and I remember finishing The Vanishing Stair and being like, oh my gosh, I need this 3rd book. I need to finally see what happens. And this book has been out for over 2 months and I still have not picked it up. I'm really kind of trying to chisel away at my ginormous TBR little by little, so I do hope to get to the hand on the wall sometime soon. I have a problem that I'm noticing lately, that I really haven't wanted to read like the last book in a series because I don't want to admit to myself that the series is over. This can be with like a prequel or a giant finale. I've mentioned it in the fact that I have not read The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J Maas yet because I just don't want Throne of Glass to be like over. And so I think especially with mysteries, like I really want to know who done it, what is happening in the Truly Devious universe, but I also don't want to admit to myself that that one's over because I feel like I've been looking forward to each of these new books coming out for so long now that I'm not ready. Next up is, what book do you have yet to read because you read a book by the same author and you didn't really enjoy it? And for this, my answer is The Young Elites by Marie Lu, which my other answer could also be Warcross by Marie Lu. I did read Legend back in December and I don't want to say I didn't like it. It just wasn't my favorite. I feel like when it comes to Legend, it seemed kind of like a very generic dystopian. I know it's a bigger one that a lot of people love. I feel like I will continue it at some point. It's just not really a top priority of mine at the moment. I felt like I really wasn't connecting with the characters as much as I should have been. And yeah, it didn't really do much for me personally, but I have eyed The Young Elites for the longest time. I've eyed Warcross for the longest time, but I haven't picked up either yet. I know her writing has probably evolved so much since the first Legend book. Honestly, if you had told me when I was in 7th grade that Cassandra Clare was going to be one of my favorite authors, I probably wouldn't have believed you just because I don't think City of Bones was her best, but it was also a debut novel. Authors get a chance to grow, so I'm open to reading these next books, seeing what she's done since then, but I'm also very hesitant to do so for that reason. But if you've read The Young Elites or if you've read Warcross, please let me know your thoughts on it down below. If you think I should just go ahead and give it a chance, I would really love to know. Next up is, what book do you have yet to read because you're just not in the mood for it? And honestly, my answer for this is kind of a different one than you might expect, but it is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I have wanted to see the Outlander TV series for years and years now. I tried to watch the first episode and then I was like, no. I'm gonna go back and read the books first, but I still haven't. I have owned this book for a very long time now, and I think I don't know, I'm just not in the mood for that kind of book at the moment, and maybe it's the fact that there's so many books in this series, and these books get so long that I think that's where I've been really hesitant with these books. But I know Sasha over at Booktopia absolutely loves this series. This is like her favorite series of all time. I have been to one of the filming locations for it where they filmed Old and Renaissance season 1. I was on a day bus tour in Scotland when I studied abroad last fall. So right after that tour, I was really kind of hyped to finally dive into the series, but I pushed it off like I always do. Like I am so guilty of, and I know many of you are also. I'm kind of just saving it for the right time. I don't know when that right time is, but I'm saving it for the right time, and that is the excuse I am giving myself. Next question is, what book do you have yet to read because it is humongous? And I'm just gonna... Can you hear how thick this book is? This is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, clocking in at about 1,000 pages, which I'm not gonna lie, might be the biggest book I have ever read. The biggest book I have ever read at the moment is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J Maas, which does clock in at 992 pages, and I'm gonna give an exact rating on this one. So this one does clock in at 1,001 pages, which is massive. I know I've mentioned in the past few videos how big of a beast I think House of Earth and Blood Crescent City by Sarah J Maas is, and that's about 800 pages. So we're gonna take that and then add on 200 more, and then we have this bad boy. I've heard so many good things about Brandon Sanderson. I've never finished one of his books, and it kills me every day because of it. I am reading The Final Empire for the Owls Readathon this month, and I have been listening to Skyward on audiobook, and I am absolutely loving Skyward. I think it's phenomenal. But I know Catherine over at Catherine Reads, this is her favorite series by Brandon Sanderson, I believe. I know she's a huge fan of his books, and so I trust her reading tastes. I find that they are kind of similar to mine, so I think I'm gonna love this one too. In addition to it being humongous, there are 3 books with a 4th one coming out in November that are like equally as huge, if not bigger than this one, because this is the first book. So the length of this novel, I don't even feel right calling this a novel, this volume. The length of this volume is definitely what's kept me from reading it at the moment. Okay, so we have 2 left, and the next one is what book was a cover buy for you, but you still haven't read it because you've read some not so good reviews. This one I'm kind of cheating on because I didn't necessarily buy it for the cover, but I bought it and then found out it had some bad reviews, and it does have a gorgeous cover. But it is The Gilded Wolves by Rashni Chakshi. I got this in an owl crate, which is why I am saying that I didn't necessarily buy it for the cover, because I didn't know it was being shipped to me. But it is the owl crate cover, which I think is even more gorgeous than the original cover, even though they're both gorgeous, just with a couple different color schemes. But since I have gotten this and have neglected to read it since it arrived over a year ago, I have heard some not great things about it. I've heard a lot of people have DNF'd this book. A lot of people just really couldn't get into it. I think it was something to do with the writing style, just didn't really make sense. They couldn't really follow along with it. And that is 10 out of 10 what has kept me from finally reading this book. I know I'll get there someday because it does have a gorgeous cover. And I am pretty sure it's about werewolves, but that is definitely what has kept me from finally reading this book. Is I know if I had heard some better reviews, because I don't really think I've heard a good review on it, which sounds horrible, and I still do want to give it a chance, but we're not there quite yet. And the last question is, what is the most intimidating book on your TBR? And I have mentioned this one previously in the same video, but it is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, which is the first book in the Mistborn series. I feel like this is the most intimidating book on my TBR, not in the sense of like how long this book is, because we all saw Way of Kings. It's huge. But I think this is his most popular series. This is the one that they say you should definitely start with if you've never read a Sanderson book. And I think that's what's intimidating me about it. I did read the first 100 pages and then I kind of set it down. I felt like I wasn't in the right state of mind to pick it up. And again, with the fact that everyone says you should pick this one up first, I think it's also the reviews that have made me really hesitant to read it at the moment. They all say how good it is, how beloved Brandon Sanderson is. I think he's probably one of like the top most beloved authors in the booktube community when it comes to fantasy books. So I'm scared I'm not gonna like this. I did like what I read so far, but I really need to read it kind of closer to kind of absorb all that is happening. So I did stop this book at the moment, and I am restarting it for Owls this month. Definitely out of all the books here, this will be the one that is getting read first because I am reading it this month. We'll see how it goes. Alright, and there you have it, guys. That was my intimidating TBR tag. I have quite a bit of work to do, because it's quite intimidating. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please be sure to leave a comment down below telling me if you've read any of these books. What did you think of them? That might help me to get over this intimidation, pick up a couple of these quicker. So I would really love to know your thoughts on them. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to this channel down below if you haven't already, because I do upload every Monday and every Thursday on this channel and you don't want to miss what's coming next. I am vlogging for the Owls Readathon. The first weekly vlog should be up on Thursday, so look out for that. Thank you again so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!